fits right in. He just doesn't listen when he's on his phone. He fits right in. This is cool. This is a guy's desk. Daily Drift Exotics. So I saw one of these fishing apps and try them. They have their own website. I was like, Dave, you know, you get a very different website. My bad lead. It just arrived yesterday. All right. Dope. What? Because it's a leather and the real carbon fiber. They have this and they have a red roof. Oh, dude. Mia. Check this out. Dave's got some red bottoms. Yeah. Where'd you go? Mia? Yeah, this is pretty cool. So we have to figure out for our DDE uploaded shoe how I want to style it, what shape or design. So I'm testing everything right now. I actually like these. That's cool. Alright. I have some ideas for shoes, guys. I have some ideas. Yo. There's another idea. Another idea? Yeah, it just came through. It hurt. This thing's crazy inside, man. Inside this computer. Dude, it's like a lot of stuff going on inside there. But the sim is up and running. Cool, right?
Oh my god, I missed this freaking back roller.
Close it down. There you go. Let's see what Dave sees. That's pretty wild, eh? What car are you in? A Huracan GT3. On the streets? Or off the road there? He's on the track. They teach you how to drive. It's very realistic. And it's a back road track. We even have, if you noticed, we even have the actual Lamborghini steering wheel. Yeah, I think it's far from me. Check out my goats. They're good. My car's getting wrecked. I guess we know who wrecked the glass. We know who. Yeah, that's true. Crashed it into a fence. I guess we know who wrecked the glass on the center. You have to reset it. You also need to reset it so the car's not all messed up. It's trash. You don't need the clutch. We're just going to show you how to drive it first. You got basically brake and gas. That's the clutch. Yeah, there you go. Brake and then throttle. What are you doing? You know how you have a license, right? What is she doing right now? The footwork down here is questionable. Well, I like that you're left foot braking already, though. Like that's. You got clutch in it first. So you gotta put the clutch in. Yeah, and then hold the right paddle to put it in first. Oh, you'll have to.
No shit, it's not working. You guys make me look at.
Dave's killing us here. Alright. Now try it. Yeah. There you go. Or you can, just if it starts to really whip the wheel, just let go of the wheel. And keep your hands away from it. Are you gonna go? You hit the ball or what? Yeah, watch this. Let's hard turn. Back up the front a little bit. Just a little bit. It's on off button. Wow.
What way to do this?
The gas will find out the throttle. You'll start.
Like, I need to go into reverse. It's just, I'm on the throttle.
Oh, it's stuck in the wall.
Yeah.
Alright. We'll start over again. Uncle Dave Scott, in real life, we don't have these in the app. It's not all the way. It's not Alright. Ready? Got it? There you go. Okay. Let's see if you can get out of the. It's a little bit long. Just a little bit. That's a sharp corner, so not up the throttle. Roll it. There you go. Straighten it out. Now get in and roll it.
I don't know where the corners are, buddy.
is actually learning how to drive on this is no joke.
Describe what I feel like drive this car.
Yeah, what's it like?
Steering wheel's vibrating a lot. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be
It
shifting.
gives feedback.
I feel like I'm really like I have to focus here.
We're good. We're doing pretty good. Well, at least you're on the road. Yeah. There you go. Get in it. Try to rip it. Just punch it. Let's go. You need to get the other hands off. Gotta stay off the grass. Watch out for the goat.
Hey, there's no goats.
Not bad. The trick is, if she loses control and hits something, just she can get violent. She did. She did good. She made it around the corner. Now, Gabe and I went on the hard way. That was the feedback, and it tells you all the warnings right here. Basically, this can get really bad. So if you start to feel the steering wheel starting to like suck, you just want to like go a bit. You want to hit the emergency off button right here. There you go. Push forward. There you go. Very good. That's the one that you couldn't make it around. Oh, I'll go with the fast one. I'll do 200. It's definitely more manageable if you're in a higher gear like that and you're not ripping it. How's it feeling? Yeah?
It's really fast corners.
Yeah, they're long sweeping corners, right? What do you guys think of me as first time driving on a sim? First time ever. Totally good. Never do it on a sim before. Our first time driving on a sim, like a real sim, like
attractive offers on the GTX. Need a complimentary charging bundle or charging credits.
beyond cars. You actually couldn't hear them halfway. It's like out of control, like crazy. We got the slicks warmed up now, so it's probably pretty good at this speed.
People get is very smooth. It's not letting gears down to just down to brake. This is
Yeah. How's this feeling?
Yeah, I like it. I'll go on a real track. Oh, I did crash the
You
first
want to go on
time.
the what?
I'll go on a real track.
In a real car?
Yes.
That's bad. Make
the
me
race.
proud. We'll just put you in the setup. Okay? $2 million car. What's it? Switch up? Whoa! What happened there? You just drove into a wall.
Well, yeah, I saw the corner was coming up real late.
I never passed the car as well. Oh yeah, you're right. The back. Red in the front, the back and the front.
It's not really different now. There's been damage.
Yeah.
Does it really?
It's actually wild if you do damage. Like, look, the glass is cracked.
Oh,
The
great.
windscreen. The windscreen's right cracked.
Demonstrate.
100 miles an hour.
115. 120. If I into a corner, hold it
Going
for
block quicker now.
not even touching the brake. Staying in there. Alright, it's rolling off. 120. 115. We'll bring it down the car. You're good. Yeah.
You're in the grass.
Yeah.
Why are you in the grass? What are you doing in the grass?
I just see how I don't know what's going on. The steering wheel's just like that now.
Well, look at over here. Control arms up, guys.
Yeah, you're wrecking stuff. The car doesn't
We
want to
understand it's doing 95 miles an hour.
I have to stop to drive. Sideways.
What's this?
Oh, it's
Right now, it's going on the corner.
Yeah, you're going. The car's turning right on its own. That is crazy how screwed up this is right now. To go straight, you gotta hold the wheel like that.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, turn them.
Leslie, I call him Daddy. You ready?
Alright.
Sorry. Remind me to focus, right? Remember?
the wheel. Just drive straight. Let's take this down.
That's what I have. The other way.
Island 98.5 and Skills
One hit. Completely destroys the car. Like, it looks like just some cracked windows, but like this thing you can drive straight across this.
It shows you right here with the damages. You can see that's why. Because the control arm right there is bent. I have side damage, some yellow side damage, and I have red front damage. That's clearly
We'll do a reset. It's fun having this again. I want to go with Vita Seca in
I don't want to drive it yet.
Disney Halloween hits and spooky podcasts like Dream Sequence. Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search Halloween, and listen now. iHeartRadio, free never sounded so good. iHeartRadio.
Want to ski for free? At Ski Sundown in New Hartford, you can earn skiing benefits while working in a fun, fast-paced environment. Learn about these employee perks at Ski Sundown's Job Fair, held on October 9th and 10th. Stop by either Wednesday from 1 to 8 p.m. or Thursday from 4 to 8 p.m. and get an on-the-spot interview. Visit skisundown.com for details and a list of available positions. Ski Sundown, a great place to work and a fun place to ski.
Did you know 9 out of 10 customers would recommend AAA insurance to a friend? Whoa, 9 out of 10 people don't even like baseball. And that's America's pastime. To find out why and get a quote, visit AAA.com/insurance. Based on a 2023 customer survey. Insurance provided by CSAA Insurance Exchange.
It's the Marketer's Report. Today, Erica Taylor, Chief Marketing Officer of Genentech, explains how audio is an ideal way for brands to tell their stories.
Everyone is listening somewhere, somehow. I think that there's something deep in all of us that enjoys listening to and telling stories. When I think about what we do here at Genentech, we do a lot to actually tell the broader story of our company and the
Good morning, good morning. I love you. I hope you have an amazing day. Don't worry. Jesus has got your back and my back. And we're gonna restore to the heavens.
Live conversations, trusted influencers, and the insights and data you need to grow. Not just a media company. iHeartMedia is your access company. If you're more, go to iHeartResults.com.
And like that, we're back, baby. LA, California.
Hawaii's #1 reggae station, Island 95. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
Free never sounded so good.
Because they spend a lot of time engineering and devising
CD player tells me to do is the one box system is a 5 box. Why did I say 6 box? Sorry, it's a 5 box system. I then thought to myself, well, if I'm going to invest money, I don't want to spend money getting this, whatever, Marantz with this Macintosh, whatever, preamps. There's so many different preamps, there's thousands of different preamps, power systems. So I thought to myself, utilise what manufacturers done, which is the TAD. They have speakers, preamps, power amps, CD players. So you have synergy already being designed by experts who spend thousands of hours, millions of pounds constantly, researching and developing what they've got. And I don't have to waste my time trying to emulate that when I can just purchase that. And I would always think to myself, I think for most people, when they try and get the synergy right, they're never quite sure. Whereas I don't have to think about it. The pre-power and the speakers are from the same manufacturer, so that cuts that problem question out. What made me go to TAD was their reputation, because they come from the recording industry, and it stands for Technical Audio Device, it's a division of Pioneer, and they've been for many, many years designing equipment for studios. This hasn't been designed, the studio's been designed for the houses, but what I'm saying is the engineers behind it are professionals, and they deal with making music, and again, that's what I believe is important. If you get a company that makes music, then theoretically, they're also at the other end of the scale, so they're actually producing the records and stuff, CDs or whatever you're listening to. I went with that core system because again, I knew the quality was high, and they've got the lowest recall of any manufacturer I was told in breaking down or anything. That's very important. I use the word synergy because that is highly important. Because these amplifiers are designed to use with these speakers, and that amplifier is being designed to use with that preamp. That is the best preamp and the best power amp in the world. I don't know. I doubt it. But for this system, for this money, I believe it's the best. The preamp is a dual mine construction. It's a separate power supply. So the power supply is actually in the corner, you can't see it. It's completely separate to the preamp. Most preamps have a power supply within them, which again gets you that different feel and sound. So they make it extreme length. It's got an underlying cord that goes from the preamp to the power supply. And the same goes for the power amps. The power amps are designed with the old-fashioned transformers. Again, if you're on the website, you see that they don't cover the transformer in a box or whatever, because they think that interferes with the transformer, which is one of the most important parts of the power amp. And they are bi-amplifier and bi-wireable on the power amps. They do a bi-amp version and a mono version, not a mono version. And again, with bi-amp system, if you do buy that system, you get even more freedom to speak. You've got tried that out by amping if done correctly. It's a very nice way of bringing up the sound. TAD reference 1 speakers, number serial 1, serial 2, the first new pair of this type of speaker in the world. So I got down 6 years ago, and they are special sensitive cabinets, actually manufactured by a Japanese firm maker, which would be a common sense thing to do, because they put cabinets in and put together on a regular basis. So obviously there are best technical people to put something like this cabinets together. They weigh 120 kilos each. They're very, very, very dense, and they've got no sound in them whatsoever. That's the whole point of this type of speakers. They're curved. It's a parabola-shaped cabinet. Yes? So that way it creates a sound like a parabola, because it focuses the sound to the bass. The bass reflects the bottom. So it's bass reflex, you've got 10 inch here and 10 inch there. You've got the dual mid-range, which is brilliant, and it's designed by TAD. So the whole system is really a two-way system. It's like a three-way. Take that as one. It's dual concentric, and then the bass. And then it's by-wire at the back. The cabinets are Japanese cherry wood. And as I said, I raised the speakers off the ground. Again, with a floor speak sound, which is designed to be on the floor. Any floor sound I then tried the Rel, which again something I think over the top, but again, trying it in my system, you know, and listening to it without, it's basically like having a car with no tyres. Because, you know, the ride was what I thought was brilliant. I now know how good it really is now. It adds so much. Any system on the planet, in my opinion now, needs some sort of subwoofer system because it allows the other speakers to breathe easier and not spend its energy producing low end notes. And it's not about the low end because it improves the mid range, the treble, the sound stage, all things that it shouldn't do, it actually does. And I didn't expect that, but that's my experience with using these Rel or any subwoofers. It's very, very natural, very neutral, and it's unfatiguing, and it's very, in my opinion, really opposite what I'm after, because I judge everything in the concerts. And again, you have to ask yourself this question, you know, what is your goal, what are you trying to achieve? I want to get as close as I can to listening to a live band. But when you listen to a live band, it actually sounds very, very dynamic, but very smooth at the same time. And that's what these speakers can achieve. And I love their stereometry and their holographic imagery. Often I can hear a track where I hear no sound out of the speakers whatsoever. And again, I've never heard a system like that, where you hear the imagery of the voice in the middle, and you hear instruments behind you, you hear nothing from the speakers. I enjoy that fact that it brings you into the actual environment of the actual sound, which again I haven't experienced with those speakers. I don't favour anything in particular other than the synergy of the whole sound. You know, I don't think I want a fantastic holographic image, or I want this, or I want that. You know, ultimately, you want something you can sit down, not be fatigued, spend hours listening to it, and think, what can I listen to next? And you want to listen to something else. I've had so many years of second-hand hi-fi that got me to this stage, because without that experience I wouldn't be here now, because at one point I never had a system for like 10 years. I couldn't be bothered. And then when you get back into it, it is addictive, there's no doubt about it. It's not just about that, it's about, you know, the enjoyment of getting it. It's the part that leads you to things out of life. Without doubt, yeah, you have to spend, again, it depends what you want to do. I mean, it depends what your goal is, it depends what your aspirations are. You know, I enjoy detail. For me, it's all about the detail, because that's what makes everything. You know, that's what gets you to the point that you want to get to. If you put your time and frame and effort into, you know, achieving that, and in a way, that's why the demo discs are good, because if you've got one demo disc that you know and you are familiar with, then again, that makes it easier to judge things.
Michael, thank you very much for inviting me to sit at home and listening to your amazing podcast. Thank you very much. And also thank you for coming on my YouTube channel and allowing me to my hi-fi review. I know we can do a few other bits as well, but let's quickly talk about tag, because the bit that was interesting is the reason partly why I'm here was because you're interested to maybe work with potential customers in tag in the UK, because you feel like maybe it's a little bit of an underrepresented brand in terms of exposure as maybe some of the others, and you feel that it's difficult to get maybe an in someone's home set up listen of Derek's work. So explain to me what your plan is with that, what I suppose what you'd like to offer, how that would work.
Well, through Neutronics, I'd like to offer service to someone who's really serious. So they can come and listen in a home setting. Something that I've spent a lot of time to work and to get to that point. And so that person doesn't then have to worry about listening to a television and then not saying how it would do in a short service time.
Good morning, good morning. It's a Hawaiian party.
It's quite a unique position.
You're all invited. Taking consciousness to the next level. The new algorithms have been completed.
If somebody's interested in this, then it's a lovely opportunity to be able to come and see.
Together we rise.
But okay, thanks very much again, and I hope everyone's enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.
Between the United States and its biggest economic rival, China. I'm Professor Hannah Brown, mathematician and writer. I want to know where quantum technology will take us, and with international security under threat, who will come out on top. This is the research headquarters for one of the oldest companies in tech, IBM. They've been inventing new computing technology here since the 1960s. It's like the Jetsons meets the Flintstones. Quantum scientist Olivia Lanes is showing me IBM's newest experimental machine.
This big shiny behemoth is IBM Quantum System 2.
Sounds like it's on. What is the big deal there? I mean, why not just build an ordinary supercomputer?
It's a totally different avenue. It's not just supercomputers, but better, or AI, but more powerful. It's an entirely different way of computing.
The big difference is the computer's ability to harness the mysterious effects of quantum physics. Standard computers, they calculate by using billions of tiny little on and off switches known as bits. Now these things, they're very reliable, they're very accurate, and they work together in sequence. So, if you ask a standard computer to solve a maze, it will do so by checking through every possible part one by one until it finds a solution. Now, depending on the size of the maze, that could take seconds or minutes, or potentially, a really big maze, even years. A quantum computer, on the other hand, works a little bit differently. There, the bits are known as quantum bits, or qubits, and rather than just being on or off, a qubit can be held in something called a superposition, where it can be both on and off at the same time. Now, okay, I know that doesn't really make a lot of sense, but unfortunately that is just how physics works down at the atomic level, so go with me. This bizarre ability of a qubit to be in two states at once means that a series of qubits can solve lots of calculations simultaneously. And so, if you ask a quantum computer to solve a maze, it means it can consider all possible routes at once, giving you the answer in an instant. It could allow a quantum computer to complete in minutes computations so complex that it would take today's supercomputers millions of years. But that's not the only reason they're a game changer for science.
I think what it really comes down to is that nature is quantum mechanical. When you get down to molecular and atomic interactions, nature does not obey classical physics. It's a very crude approximation. And if we really want to understand how nature evolves in time, we have to have a system that obeys quantum physics.
So I guess this finally gives us the opportunity to do simulations down at the level of atoms. And when you have that, I mean, you can design drugs at the level of atoms.
That's right.
You design materials, batteries, and we haven't had this before.
We've never had that.
I think when quantum computing comes up in conversation, people are excited about it, but they're excited about the amount of power it gives you, about how quickly you can do computations. Because, okay, sure, all of that stuff might be true, but we should be thinking of this as though someone has just invented the telescope, and all of a sudden, we can see and understand things at a scale that we just did not have access to before. That's the ambition, at least. Quantum computers cannot yet perform useful calculations better than a supercomputer, because in practice, getting even a handful of qubits to give you a reliable answer is phenomenally difficult. Oh my god. Whoa! This is IBM's lab where they test out new hardware, a place where we can see the guts of the machine. Oh, that is extraordinary. This is what System 2 looks like inside?
Yeah.
What are we looking at then?
I think a lot of people have a slight misconception and they see, this whole gold shiny thing and they think this is a quantum computer. That's actually not true. This is the quantum computer. So this tiny little thing, right? This is the Heron chip. This is the 133 qubits that I am holding in the palm of my hand.
How much is that worth?
A lot.
Don't drop it.
I'm gonna try not to.
The chip contains the qubits that carry out the computation, and it's fair to say they're a little fussy.
We're trying to change the energy state of the qubit between 0 and 1 in a very controlled way. So any type of outside energy that might change it slightly in a way, except for what we're trying to do, will break your algorithm and give you the wrong answer.
Outside energy includes any heat. To preserve the delicate quantum state of the qubit, the chip must be kept extremely cold. This tangle of gold-plated pipes and wires is in fact a cooling system that chills the chip to just above absolute zero.
For comparison, the cosmic microwave background in space is way warmer. That's orders of magnitude warmer.
Oh my goodness.
So it is the coldest thing in the known universe.
Which is incomprehensibly cold.
But these guys like it.
They like it. Focus on your work. Stop paying attention to any of the energy around you.
That's right.
IBM say they'll unlock quantum's full potential by 2033. As you can imagine, it's been an expensive endeavor. Do you have any idea how much IBM will have spent on this quantum program?
We haven't broken out, but I think it's fair to say it's like obviously many billions of dollars of investment. Our company spends close to $7 billion a year in R&D, right? And today, in our world of technology, if you're not investing at that scale, it's very hard to be a global leader.
But you do have competition, right? How much are you looking over your shoulder at what everyone else is doing?
We pay keen attention, right, to the entire ecosystem. But look, we take the perspective, because we've been sort of leaders and pioneers of this field, is that we want an industry. Like, we don't want to be, alone on this.
How much do you collaborate with other companies there, like Google and Microsoft, who are also in this space?
We collaborate a lot externally. For us, collaborating on this is like at the heart of making an ecosystem. It's back to the idea of creating an industry.
Do you collaborate with Chinese companies as well?
No, we do not.
Oh, go on.
Well, I think we acknowledge the fact that in this technology, in quantum, right? But we're seeing it happen, by the way, in other areas like semiconductors and so on. There is not only a big economic dimension, but there's a big national security implication as well. Quantum falls squarely within the category of like sensitive technologies from that perspective.
How important is it for the US to be the leaders in this?
It's critically important. I think that is recognized in a bipartisan manner. One of the things we're witnessing is that we've seen the elevation of technology to the same level of geostrategic importance as trade or military alliances. Quantum computing is without a doubt one of the top technologies that the United States needs to lead.
For now, the United States maintains supremacy in the development of quantum computers. But its biggest rival is fast catching up.
集聚力量，进行原创性、引领性科技攻关，坚决打赢关键核心技术攻坚战。
China are betting big. They've invested over $15 billion, more than 3 times any other country. They have dozens of new research institutes committed to quantum and hold more than half of all patents in quantum technology. Hey!
Hi there.
How are you doing? Security expert Anna Puglisi has been advising the US government on how not to fall behind.
China really does view science and technology as a national asset. It talks about not just leading, but dominating in these key areas.
Does the US not see science as a national asset as well?
I don't think we have the same kind of comprehensive strategic plan that brings together all facets of society and really has that longer-term investment. What we are facing is it's not an even and level playing field. Our researchers are essentially up against the funding of a nation state.
What are we talking about here in terms of the magnitude of difference of funding?
Some examples that folks have given me is, okay, I have a lab, I have 5 to 6, maybe 4 to 6 graduate students in my lab at any given time. Their equivalent labs have 50, 100 graduate students or postdocs.
The US is hitting back.
I made sure the most advanced American technologies can't be used in China. And thanks to our CHIPS and Science Act, the United States is investing more in research and development than ever before.
Whoever is the first to realize the potential of quantum computers will wield incredible power. But it's a double-edged sword because a world with quantum computers, so many of our grand challenges are scientific ones. And I think that quantum technology presents a real cause for optimism. And today I'm talking to an expert from Nokia Bell Labs to find out what needs to happen to make it a reality. Could be a world without secrets.
Pretty much all internet communication is based on scrambling it using a secret code, otherwise known as encryption. And a lot of it uses a very clever mathematical trick involving prime numbers. What you do, you take 2 prime numbers, let's say 17 and 31, and then you multiply them together to give you a code. In this case, 527. Now that bit, very straightforward, very easy for computers to do that, multiply numbers together. What is much harder is if you only have the long number, working out what those 2 secret primes were. The only way that you can do this with classical computers is by checking through all the prime numbers just to see if they work, one after the other after the other.
A common type of encryption, RSA, uses prime numbers that are hundreds of digits long. To crack those codes, it would take a conventional computer trillions of years.
That's really the obstacle of encryption. It's not this impossible, it just takes a really, really long time. This is where quantum computing comes in, because quantum computers using superposition can simultaneously run numerous calculations at the same time and can take something like this down to being crackable within just a few minutes. It means that encrypted data could be hacked in no time. Few are more afraid of a mass global data breach than the banking industry. Dr. Philip Interlura is head of quantum technology at HSBC.
We process £3.5 trillion worth of payments every year. So cryptography is a big deal for us.
How much of a catastrophe would this be if people just sat back and did nothing?
Well, ultimately, you're going to have customers' accounts being breached, which means things like identity theft and fraudulent transactions.
Money being stolen.
Money being stolen. That's then going to roll into financial losses. Customers will lose money, the banks will lose money. But I think ultimately the biggest risk of all is the element of trust. If customers can't trust their bank to keep their accounts and their money
assets
secure, as well as their data, then it's kind of an existential risk.
Yeah, I mean, that is a fundamental part of banking. Can you be absolutely sure that this hasn't happened already? I mean, okay, if I had a quantum computer, I could read everything. I'm not sure I would tell people about it.
No, you probably wouldn't. I think it's very unlikely that anyone's got a quantum computer powerful enough right now to do this, but there may be something called a store now, decrypt later, or harvest now, decrypt later type of attack. And this is kind of the idea that state actors or malicious entities right now can start intercepting our data and storing it and just keeping it ready for the point in time when a cryptographically relevant quantum computer arrives.
Are we talking about national security concerns here? Is that ultimately where the big worry is?
That's probably the number one area that we should be concerned about, because state actors are most likely going to target national security kind of infrastructure to scrape and decipher information. State secrets will be uncovered.
You'll know who all the spies are.
You'll know who all the spies are. If you suddenly lose that secrecy and that security, then it causes all sorts of vulnerabilities on a personal level, on a national level, from a security perspective, from a commercial perspective. And so, this is a big, big deal.
HSBC say that doing nothing is simply not an option. The bank has been testing a way to secure its data against an attack from quantum computers.
Internet data today is sent by laser pulses in an optical fiber.
This is Dr. Andrew Shields, head of quantum technology for Toshiba.
In general, fiber networks are very secure, but they are vulnerable to tapping. If I introduce a small bend into the fiber, you can see some of the light is now leaking out. And actually a hacker can use that. They can introduce a small bend to tap out some of the light and measure that to recover the data.
So that's all you need then, is just access to the cable?
Indeed, it's very straightforward.
Goodness me. Andrew has built a device that utilizes the strange world of quantum physics to send data in a way he claims can never be hacked.
What?
It's called quantum key distribution.
This is it, yes. What this box is
quantum
doing
key
is it's sending single
distribution?
photons through an
That
optical
sounds
fiber
crazy.
to the BT network. And we use that to form encryption keys, and those encryption keys are then being used to secure data sent between here and the data center in Berkshire.
The device generates a secret code using single particles of light, photons, which are sent one at a time down a fiber.
Good morning, good morning.
A fundamental law of quantum
Thanks for
physics
hanging
is that
out.
if you observe a photon, you change its quantum state. And that means that if an
Make
eavesdropper
this
tries
day
to intercept
epic.
the key, the code will be changed, rendering it unusable. The device already uses telecom company BT's existing fibre network to send sensitive files across London to a data centre over 30 miles away. Tell me about the information that you're sending using this method at the moment then.
So in the case of HSBC, it's financial data. But we've done other trials with hospitals, for instance, where they've been sending medical scan data, or with governments where they've been sending some government data.
Do you feel this sense of urgency from companies then, even though we're not quite there yet with quantum computers?
Yes, they absolutely are. There's an increasing realization that the quantum computer is coming.
How far away do you reckon it is?
Well, now that's a very difficult question to answer. If I was a betting man, maybe I would say 5 to 7 years.
There are no maybes here. It's not if this is going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. And it's the total acceptance that when it happens, our existing communication systems are no longer fit for purpose. And that puts you in a position where you have no choice but to find something else that works and is secure.
Some have made more progress than others. In 2016, China shocked the world by launching a satellite capable of sending quantum keys over far greater distances than
somebody's got to fucking
it's part of
stand
a
up to
wider
this
quantum
freaking
network that China has built,
Earth.
connecting banks, government and industry across the country, leaving other nations scrambling to catch up. On the gleaming streets of Singapore, the quantum revolution has found fertile ground. Scientists here want to build an unhackable network that can be commercialized, so anyone can use it. Professor Alexander Ling runs
we
the
gotta buy
Center
a
for Quantum
subscription.
Technologies at the
My Ferrari is currently stranded in Singapore.
I'm the team mascot, and boy am I running late. What a hit. And if you don't have the right auto insurance coverage, the cost to cover that might tank your season. So get off, Dave. You'll be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Is it possible to count on my internet, like my customers count on me?
With reliable internet from Comcast Business, it's happening.
Switch to Comcast Business and get started with fast, reliable internet for $59.99 a month. Or ask about our 5-year price lock guarantee on qualifying internet bundles. Call today.
I'd love to start with these.
10 years of work right there.
Someone on your team called these the real-life Tony Stark glasses.
Very hard to make each one of these.
That makes me feel incredibly optimistic.
In a world where AI gets smarter and smarter, this is probably going to be the next major platform after phones.
I miss hugging my mom.
Yeah, haptics is hard.
How does generative AI change how social media feels?
We haven't found the end yet.
The average American has fewer friends now than they did 15 years ago. Why do you think that's happening?
I mean, there's a lot going on to unpack there.
I'm about to interview Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg?
There are not that many people with more power over what our future might look like. Nearly half the total human population now uses Meta products. And I just tested some of their new tech that feels like science fiction. This is crazy. Mark Zuckerberg and the team at Meta are imagining a future that billions of other people might actually end up living in. So my goal for this conversation is to try to figure out what that future really looks like. To paint a picture of the future Mark Zuckerberg is trying to build, so that you can decide for yourself what you think of it. Welcome to the first episode of our new series, Huge Conversations.
Hey, good to meet you. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Awesome. I'd love to tell you what my goal is of this conversation.
Go for it.
So we have a show called Huge If True, which is this very optimistic show about science and technology and the potential futures that we can build. And in every episode, we're sort of exploring what does it look like if you play a certain technological future out. And so my goal in this conversation is to try to help people see the future that you're imagining when you're building the products that you and the Meta team are building. What are you imagining this looks like in the future? How are you imagining people use this? All of that.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Awesome. So I'd love to start with,
Let's do it. 10 years of work right there.
I got to demo them a little bit earlier today. I heard someone on your team call these the real-life Tony Stark glasses,
We're getting there.
but I'd love to just hear in your voice. What are these?
Well, these are the first full holographic augmented reality glasses, I think, that exist in the world. We've made, I think it's a few thousand or something, right? Very hard to make each one of these. But this is the culmination of 10 years of research and development that we've done to basically miniaturize all the computing that you need to have glasses, not a headset, but glasses that can put full holograms into the world with a wide field of view. So imagine
No
in the
way.
future, we'd be having a version of this conversation where,
crazy.
you know, maybe I or you are not even here. It's like one of us is physically here and the other one is here as kind of a full body hologram. And it's not just a video call, you can actually interact, you can do things. I mean,
Dude,
the demo,
that's
we
the
had
future right there.
ping pong
Everyone's gonna buy
games,
that.
things like that
Fuck
you can interact,
that.
work together.
What's that thing that?
Poker, play chess, whatever, like the holographic cards,
The freaking-
holographic board game. I just
Not
think it's
the
gonna be
iPhone.
wild. It's gonna remake so many different
The other thing, the headset that Apple made.
from how we
The Apple
work and
headset.
productivity to a lot of things around science, a lot of things around education.
This thing is
entertainment,
badass.
Fun, gaming. But this is just the beginning. You know, this is the first version. It's a prototype version that we've made in order to
It's just a fucking
develop the
prototype.
next version, which is hopefully going to be the consumer one that we sell to a lot of people.
Why build these?
Well, I think it's going to be the next major computing platform. So if you look at like the grand arc of computing over time, you've gone from like mainframes to computers that basically like live on your desk or on a tower, to phones that you have in your hand that you basically can take with you everywhere that you want, but it's pretty unnatural, right? It takes you away from the world around you. And I think that the trend in computing is it gets more ubiquitous, it gets more natural, and it just gets more social, right? So you want to be able to interact with people in the world around you. And I think that this is probably going to be the next major platform after phones.
These two. These are the clear ones that show all
Yeah, the
of
whole
the
thing is a
technology.
special edition, and this is like a really special edition. There's not a single millimeter of space. It's, everything in here, from the micro projectors that basically shoot light into the waveguides, right? It's a special type of display system. I mean, these aren't normal displays like you have in a phone or a TV or computer, like the type of displays that people have been building for decades. It's a waveguide system. The projector that's shooting light basically goes into these nano etchings across the waveguide that are what catches and creates the holograms.
It's
In order
fucking
to
crazy.
synchronize that with your where you're looking, there's eye tracking.
It's
and
clear.
Little cameras.
See-through.
Illuminate your eyes. And then, of course, there's all the
Good
basic
morning,
stuff
good
that
morning.
you need, all the computing, the batteries to power the whole thing, microphones, the speakers, because it needs to be able to play audio
Thank
and
you.
speak with you, and the cameras and sensors to see
Thanks for
things
hanging
around
out
you in
our
advance. That way,
Hawaiian
when it's
luau
placing
party.
holograms in the world, it can do that in the right place and understand
Where
where you
dreams are made
So
of.
That probably is still not covering everything, because there's
This
a lot
is
of
the
things
center
that
of
need
the
to
earth,
go
right
into
here.
syncing up the holographic
Where it all begins.
images between the two displays, because you don't just have a single display like you have in a phone or TV. You have two, and it moves around, and physical things are hard. You need to be synced up. There's also the radio that has to communicate with your other computing devices to do heavier computing, and the wrist-based neural interface that you probably got to try out. We kind of miniaturized all of this and fit it into normal-looking pair of glasses, which is when I told the team that we were going to do this 10 years ago, people weren't sure if we were going to be able to. But I think not only are we able to do this, but we're going to be able to get it cheaper and higher quality and even smaller and more stylish over time. So I think this is going to be a pretty wild future.
There are so many versions of trying to get at a similar idea of digital objects in physical space. I'm thinking of, for example, glasses that have heads-up displays where it's head-locked and it's moving with my eyes. Glasses that are really creating digital objects in physical space that don't move as I move. I'm thinking of these. I'm also thinking of the Snapchat spectacles that they just announced. Then, on the other hand, there are headsets like the Quest and also like the Apple Vision Pro that seem to fall into a different category. I'm curious how you would organize this landscape for people and how you think about people using these tools in their real lives in the near future.
Yeah, so when we were getting started on this about 10 years ago,
I don't always have 1 to 2 hours in my day to actually prepare a meal and then clean up after. Sometimes I don't want to go out.
Violation of revenue sovereignty and Hezbollah is pursuing its attacks against Israel. As called by Minister for Europe and Foreign Affairs of France, Jean-Noël Barrot, on his visit to Beirut on the 30th of September, France opposes any Israeli land operation in Lebanon and called for a cessation of indiscriminate attacks against civilians. France in turn condemns the Israeli air attacks that have led to a considerable number of civilian victims, as well as the attacks of Hezbollah against Israel and its population. We need a ceasefire as soon as possible in Lebanon. France urges the parties to, without delay, answer the call to consider the proposals of the President of the French Republic and the President of the United States, with the support of our partners, with a view to bringing about a ceasefire, opening up a pathway to a diplomatic resolution of the conflict. It is important that we restore the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Lebanon. In South Lebanon, the situation is clear. There must be full implementation of Resolution 1701. It is recognized by Lebanon as well as by Israel as the framework to bring about lasting stability along the blue line, and it offers security guarantees for both countries. Those that have been displaced must be able to return home.
Okay, there's Iran, there's Iraq, and Lebanon. All three, right there.
UNIFIL, and salute the work of the Blue Helmets of the force. With around 700 soldiers, France is doing its part. All the parties to the conflict must guarantee the protection of the Blue Helmets. That is an obligation incumbent on them. France also recalls the need for an immediate
This is bonkers. Don't you guys think this is bonkers? This is absolutely bonkers.
Humanitarian access to the civilian population, the immediate release of all hostages, and a resumption of negotiations in order to effectively implement the two-state solution. Madam President, civilians must always and everywhere be protected. France would recall the imperative of respect for international humanitarian law. It is high time for the Security Council to show unity and to speak with one voice.
Yeah, baby cake.
Demanding that we work towards de-escalation in the region. France is pursuing its efforts in this regard with our partners. Thank you.
Thank you, President. And let me start by thanking the Secretary General for his briefing and reiterate our full and unequivocal support to him and to the UN as they seek to address this crisis. The events this week are gravely concerning. Yesterday, the Iranian regime launched over 200 ballistic missiles at Israel. We categorically condemn this act of aggression, which escalates an already dangerous situation. As my Prime Minister said yesterday, Israel has our full support in exercising its right to defend itself against Iranian aggression. President, we are deeply concerned about the prospect of further escalation in
I
Lebanon
told you,
and across
the
region.
United Kingdom runs the world.
We have been clear. All our efforts now must be on stopping this cycle of violence. Iran and its allies across the region must exercise restraint and step away from the brink. We've been clear. My Foreign Secretary has consistently called for a ceasefire in Lebanon by Lebanese Hezbollah and Israel, and the implementation of a political plan in line with UNSCR 1701. We have been clear. In Gaza, we need an immediate ceasefire and the release of the hostages. my Foreign Secretary has urged both Israel and Hamas to agree the ceasefire deal on the table, to choose peace and bring this chaos to an end. Peace, not war, is the courageous option. It is also the best option to secure stability and security for Israelis, Palestinians, Lebanese, and the wider region. President, my Prime Minister has been working urgently to gather support for a political solution to this crisis. Only a ceasefire in Lebanon and Gaza would create the space to agree a political plan consistent with UNSCR 1701 that allows for the sustainable return of displaced Israeli and Lebanese civilians to their homes. Innocent civilians in Israel and in Lebanon have been displaced from their homes for too long already. The only way they will return is through a sustainable peace across the blue line. The conflict in Lebanon is causing devastating consequences for civilians, especially for women and children, and draws us closer to a wider regional conflict. President, we cannot let Lebanon become another Gaza. With mounting civilian casualties and hundreds of thousands of displaced people, all parties must do everything possible to protect civilians and fully respect.
Nice. 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 New stuff. New stuff. Alright. Enough of that. It sucks what's happening over there. There's nothing we can do. Just pray for them. You know? Protesting is not gonna do shit. So, if anyone wants to go out there and think that they're protesting, you're stupid, you're gonna get yourself killed.
So I've been meaning to try
Stay
out
home,
AirPods,
masturbate,
AirPods 4. It's a little
drink, eat
confusing.
healthy.
One version, AirPods 4, AirPods 4 with active noise cancellation. They cost more money. $129 versus $179. And then the question is it worth the extra
Eat good,
$50
you
in
know?
order to get the noise cancellation when you're talking about a headphone that isn't cheap to begin with? That's going to be the most major noise.
And help others.
The fit and the fact
Fucking
that
help
it cuts
others.
you off from the external world. Now, if you want to
There's
do
so many
that,
people out there.
AirPods Pro, which for what
You
they
can
are,
help others without not even using like money. You can help others by using your knowledge.
With any kind of product that sits on the outside of the ear rather than inside the ear tip. For a lot of people, that doesn't matter because what they're looking for is the most convenient package. They're looking for something that they can pop in and out of their ear all day, and maybe it limits their ear fatigue because possibly an in-ear headphone it gets them a little bit sore after a while, or maybe they don't want to.
That treadmill is like popping. I'm like, what the fuck? I got bored of that one already. Probably because I don't have an iPhone. Brian's always got good stuff. I missed that one pretty much. What else is going on? What?
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Nemo Propaganda here. Today we're going to do a three-way comparison between the IOTA VX SA40, that's this one on the top, the Outlaw RR2160 Mark II, that's in the middle, and the Emotiva TA2, that's at the very bottom. The purpose of this video is for anyone that either A, you're watching for entertainment, or B, you're in the market for an amplifier around $1,000, you want it to be full featured, you've seen these three, you know they got similar feature sets, all three have a good amount of power, and you're just not sure what the differences are, so I'm here to highlight that and maybe help guide you in one direction or another. So I hope you find this video helpful. By the way, if you're not subscribed, subscribe, leave a like if you like the video. The easiest way to support the channel, honestly though, is just to watch the video the whole way through. So I really appreciate it if you could do that. So let's start with the price. Emotiva TA2 is going to be $900. It's the most affordable one of the three. The Outlaw RR2160 Mark II is going to be $1,000 flat, so it's just another $100 more. And then the Iota VX SA40 is another $100 more, coming in at $1,100.
That thing looks cool.
All three of these amplifiers have remote controls, subwoofer outputs.
Those are amps?
Controls,
I thought they were
built-in
processors
DACs,
for a
digital
second.
inputs, analog outputs, and all kinds.
Crazy how amps are changing with like screens on them.
Does the Pete's Coffee taster care that floral print and stripes don't go together? He doesn't. He only cares that the flavor notes in the coffee go together. They do.
Fall at Ulta Beauty is back. From now until October 5th, get up to 40% off makeup, hair care, skincare, and more. Cozy up to the brands you love, like Morphe, Tree Hut, NYX Professional Makeup, and more beauty faves. And get the top picks you've been waiting for at a joyful, have-to-have-it price. Plus, you'll get a free gift with any Ulta Beauty Collection purchase of $19.50 or more. Shop in-store on Ulta.com or try pickup today to save big this season. Ulta Beauty, the possibilities are beautiful. Conditions apply while supplies last.
It says here, start off. We'll do the press.
My Ferrari is currently stranded in Singapore, while all the other gumball cars are already on their way home, and I'm currently in Dubai. Before we get into the video, I just want to come on and say a big thank you to absolutely every one of you that watched the video. Never had views like it on the
sports car fits inside a hippo's mouth. NJ
I was known for watches, I was doing stupid stuff with friends with cars, and now just some lifestyle vlog that all of a sudden went to the moon.
Visit NJM.com for a car.
For many YouTubers, but for me it was, and the love that you guys
getting
give me
$300 has never been so
was
easy.
absolutely
Open a checking
insane. I will
account with
never
direct
forget
deposit.
that. I've read all the comments, I've
$300.
read all your messages.
Plus, you'll get access to over
Some
55,000
people on
games
Twitter,
nationwide. You have
genuinely
the
guys,
flexibility to
all I
bank
can
7
say
days a week
is a
with
big
Video
thank
Banker
you
IQ
for allowing me
or
to
on
do
the
what I
go with
love
mobile banking.
so
Why
much.
overcomplicate
Double
things?
3000 is
When you can
over,
cash in on Simple,
done,
open any
and
checking
make it
account and
finish
get
line.
$300. You
It's
expect
crazy,
real,
but we have
simple
several
banking.
other
Your
problems
FDIC
currently,
housing loan.
which is related to that car and to the Gumball 3000. One reason, of course, was after I finished the Gumball 3000, my car broke down and hooked down on the finish line. You would have been, genuinely, it wasn't paid by and it wasn't planned. Like, I mean, for a video, I was built, I needed a good title. And there was my good title, but genuinely, it wasn't planned because, you've seen the finish. It's ridiculous. After I finished and my car broke down on the finish line, I literally just threw the keys at Cars. Cars is the company that actually ships your car from A to B and helps you import it, whatever. They're doing an incredible job. They were managing every single other car. My car was also being managed, but it didn't work. So, problem, which we're going to go through in this video. That's my son. It is so good to spend some time with family. I haven't seen my family in 3 weeks. Been away, meeting clients, growing the business, doing some YouTube stuff. Gumball 3000. I really struggled the last couple of days and missing my family, missing my son, which is quite young. He's approaching 2 years, and my daughter approaching 1. Yeah, that was a tough one. That's why I actually flew to Dubai and flew in my kids and my wife so we can spend some time together on a short holiday. I have been spoiled, I'm not gonna lie. This could a speaker review make you emotional enough to cry? I don't know if I can get through this. Give me a few minutes and we'll find out. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Caleb Dennison, and today we're going to talk about the Golden Ear T66 force making speaker. Now, if you're not familiar with Golden Ear, you will be shortly, and you may be surprised to know that the speaker brand hails from a distinguished lineage of speaker brands with which I am pretty sure you are familiar. But before I get into these speakers, I want to tell you a very personal story for 2 reasons. One is, I just couldn't do this review any other way, and I think you'll understand why in just a moment. But also, 2, the story explains a certain bias I had going into this review. You need to know where that bias comes from and the degree to which I was able to set it aside for an objective evaluation. Now, if you want to skip ahead, we've got time codes down in the description, so you can just do that. But I hope you stick with me here because, well, this is super important. I don't often get super personal on this channel, but today I need to do just that. So let me tell you about my dad. Daryl Dennison, born on the island of Oahu, Hawaii, transplanted to California as a young teenager. My dad had a pretty tough life growing up. Both his parents were in the military at Pearl Harbor during the attack that marked the United States' official entry into World War II, actually, and that meant a very strict, no-frills upbringing. Now, my dad was always a hard worker, but didn't make a lot of money. After his service as an air traffic controller stationed in Okinawa during the Vietnam War, he met and married my mom and supported his family through an eclectic series of odd jobs. He was a church pastor, a carpenter, a seismograph operator for a blasting company, and so much more. The family grew, and after my brother and sister were born, we moved in with my grandparents so he could go back to school and earn his nursing degree. It was time for a career. Like I said, we didn't have much money growing up, but we always had some kind of stereo system. At first, it was a little all-in-one turntable/receiver paired with some cheap speakers. After he graduated from the nursing program and got his first decent-paying job, he bought this RCA rack system at JCPenney that looked far cooler than it actually sounded. And when he did, he handed that little turntable system down to me and my brother, and we got to have it in our room. Over the years, my dad
Nice.
learned that I loved electronics and music as much as he
What a
did.
great
And
story.
it became something we could bond over. I always had a complicated relationship with my dad, but stereo gear and music were a mutual passion that always brought us close together. I will never forget the day my dad decided to buy the family our very first high-end audio system. He was finally making some decent money after working his tail off for years and had saved up for something nice. And I was so excited to be by his side as we took a trip down to Fred's Sound of Music in Portland, Oregon to pick out components for a new system. Together, we listened to a bunch of gear, and together, we decided on Carver separates and Paradigm speakers. Guys, I was so proud that my opinion mattered that day. I felt this level of trust and acknowledgement like I hadn't before. And it's a
That's so
feeling
cool.
that I'd continue to chase even as an adult. Y'all, I was obsessed with how this system sounded. And my dad beamed with pride as I dug into speaker positioning and learned about stereo imaging and holography and played around with the various buttons on the Carver gear, all in search of the very best sound. Fast forward to about 12 years ago. I gotta admit, one of my favorite things about my job is reviewing subwoofers. And after getting laid off from a speaker company during the recession in 2008, I got brought on as a speaker reviewer for Digital Trends. I think my first review was for a subwoofer, and then I got a set of Orb audio speakers. And I worked my way up as a speaker reviewer, but nobody knew who I was, and I wasn't recognized as an expert in tech by anyone, including my dad. I think my dad was proud that I managed to turn lemons into lemonade and leverage my years of passion and experience in audio into a job that helped support my little family at the time. But despite the tens of thousands of page views I got on my reviews, I could tell my dad didn't hold me in the same regard as the reviewers that he respected from the magazines he loved to read. See, like a lot of aspirational armchair audiophiles, my dad was really into Stereophile magazine. And he also had Sound and Vision and Absolute
That's a good
Sound magazines piled up around his home. He had a certain kind of reverence for writers like John Atkinson, Michael Fremer, and Steve Gutenberg. They were the big fish, and I was a small fry. And objectively, he was right. I wasn't at their level, but I wanted to be at that same level in his eyes, and not just because I was his son. Then, one day, out of nowhere, I got an email from Sandy Gross, founder of Polk Audio, Definitive Technology, and Golden Ear Technology. I don't know why he chose me to review his latest speaker, but I was grateful for the opportunity. I got the speakers and I was floored, and I knew that I had to do my best work, better than I had ever done before. So I took my time, I lost sleep over that review, and I even felt sick the day that my review of the Golden Ear Triton 7 speakers went live on January 30, 2014. Now, I don't know how many clicks that review got, but I do remember that Golden Ear was stoked about that review. In fact, they liked it so much that they used a quote from my review in a full-page ad that was run in Rolling Stone magazine. Can you imagine what it was like for me, a nobody speaker reviewer, to see their name printed in Rolling Stone magazine? I was over the moon, and I couldn't wait to show my dad.
At Verizon, new and existing customers can get iPhone 6 $5 taste of KFC deals we got next. Legendary.
Wash and finish work is done. Goodbye stains, you are done.
I can be a little particular. It wasn't easy finding a car that...
Would you look at that?
Huh? He was proud of me, for sure. I mean, it was Rolling Stone, but he didn't seem to see it the same way I did. It felt to me like I had made it, but I didn't sense that validation from my dad. I was a little hurt. I mean, deflated. I know my dad loved me and was proud of me, but damn it, what would it take for him to put me on the same pedestal that he put these other writers? I may be wrong about this, but I got the feeling he'd have been more excited if he'd seen my name alongside those other writers in their magazines. Well, time went on. I reviewed another set of Golden Ear speakers, the Triton 5, and once again, Golden Ear used a quote from my review in their advertisements for those speakers. Only this time, the quote wasn't in Rolling Stone, and I wasn't the one who found it. My dad
11,
found the ad and the
14,
quote in his precious stereophile magazine.
Thanks for hanging out.
Showed
I love you all.
Now, if you're not an audio nerd, that might not carry much weight for you. Maybe you don't understand why the mere memory of that moment sparked so much emotion for me. I guess you'll just have to trust me when I say that that was a big, big deal. I mean, I finally felt like my dad respected me. I'm sure he always did.
I'll be
That's
back.
just
I have to
how
check
I felt at the
where
time.
my
Anyway, I
weekend
went on
package
to
is.
advance as a tech reviewer. I moved
I'll be
into
back in
television
half hour,
as my
okay?
primary focus.
And then I'm gonna eat something
but I've
too.
always treated myself,
back in a half
and
hour.
I hope others,
Love.
to a speaker review with I think I found something special. And that included, among many others, the Golden Ear Triton 1 and Triton reference speakers. Now, I couldn't afford to buy my dad anything quite as fancy as the Triton 1, let alone the Triton reference, but I did manage to buy my dad a pair of Triton 5s, the same speaker model that landed my name in Stereophile magazine, even if it wasn't because I was writing for Stereophile mag. And guys, I can't tell you how tickled my dad was to get these speakers from his son. The boy he worked so hard to raise and support, the boy who sent him off to work countless graveyard shifts at one job, only to have to turn around and work day shifts at another. The boy he insisted on learning how to speak and write proper English. The boy with whom he shared his misunderstood passion for sound and audio gear. Guys, my dad got to enjoy those speakers in his tiny home for a solid 6 months. And then, quite suddenly, he was in the hospital fighting for his life. Esophageal cancer. He was gone in 2 weeks. My final memories of my dad from before he got sick.
Mike of the Trent Twins, that's Tren Twins, as in Trenbolone, tore his pec, bench pressing 500, or attempted to bench press 585 pounds. I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Dave Palumbo here with another RX Muscle rant. If you haven't seen it, Mike of the Trent Twins, that's Tren Twins, as in Trenbolone, tore his pec, bench pressing 500, or attempting to bench press 585 pounds. And we've all gone through some major injuries. So first of all, I want to send a big get well soon out to Mike and stay positive. We've all gone through some major injuries. You can get through this. No big deal. You guys are tough SOBs. Having said that, the Trent twins, for those of you who might not know, I'm sure a lot of you know who they are already. The twin brothers who remind me, they harken back to the Barbarian brothers of yesteryear, of the 80s and 90s. David and Peter Paul, who were good friends of mine, actually. Peter is still a good friend of mine. David is no longer with us, but they did things their way, as they like to say. They wore work boots in the gym, jeans, and lumberjack shirts, overalls, and anything else you can imagine. They grew their hair real long. They did what they call barbarian training. And the Trent twins remind me a lot of those two guys. They found a niche for themselves. They exploit that niche very well. They do things that are very extreme in the gym. They're theatrical. They have over 1 million followers. I always wondered what the Barbarian brothers would have if there was social media back in the day. They were really, really savvy for, getting themselves out there. They were in movies. They were in several Hollywood movies.
Would you believe that giraffes are 30 times more likely to get hit by lightning than people? Or that a single cloud can weigh 550 tons or more? Sounds fair, right? How about an insurance company that actually treats you right? It sounds unbelievable, but it's true. NJM Insurance is proud to put policyholders first. And they don't use jingles or mascots either. Don't believe me? Well, guess what? Everything in this commercial is true and approved by the legal department.